But I am concerned, and for the reason that Senator Padilla alluded to the degree that your resources are diverted to immigration operations against nonviolent immigrants, against farm workers or garment workers or restaurant workers, I am worried about diverting the focus away from interdicting fentanyl and going after these cartels. I'm looking for how much your workforce is being diverted to immigration enforcement and away from things that they were doing previously.
Well, specifically immigration enforcement only, that's not what we're focused on. It's just not, sir.
Okay. What percentage of your agents, would you say, what's your best estimate, what percentage have been called to do immigration enforcement?
The reason I'm having a hard time answering the question is because we work immigration enforcement as it relates to narcotics enforcement. So the two are intimately combined, and that's what our agents are doing.
Okay.
Well, for instance,
you know what I'm asking you. With all due respect, you know what I'm asking you. So, what percentage of your agents have been called away to work on immigration raids? That is a departure from what you were doing before 150 days ago.
Sir, my people do not do strictly immigration raids.
Adam Schiff faces a brutal reality check as his endless immigration raid questions backfire, leaving him speechless and humiliated. Watch as officials shut down his misleading claims with hard facts, exposing the truth about law enforcement priorities. Schiff's attempt to corner the panel falls apart in real time, leaving the audience stunned. He wanted answers. How many agents were being diverted from other duties to focus on immigration enforcement? What percentage of the FBI's workforce was involved? He demanded precision. But what he got instead was the beginning of his own public embarrassment. Let's dive in.
To the degree that your resources are diverted to immigration operations against nonviolent immigrants, against farm workers or garment workers or restaurant workers, I am worried about diverting the focus away from interdicting fentanyl and going after these cartels. So let me ask you, how many field agents do you have in LA?
So approximately 200.
And of the 200 field agents in LA, how many of them have, in the last 150 days, worked on immigration enforcement?
That's a tough question to answer, sir, just because it's such an ebb and flow. It's not like we have people permanently assigned to just work immigration enforcement. Because, as I said before, we're really primarily focused on continuing our work in drug enforcement, and the crossovers that fall into place with illegal immigration. I mean, that's where we
give us your best ballpark. Have a third of them been assigned at least temporarily, or half of them, or more? Is everyone participating to some degree?
I would say at any one time, that's a decent estimate. But again,
sorry, which estimate? About 30%?
At any one time, not necessarily at one time, but at any given time. There could be 5%, there could be 2%, there could be 30%. It just depends on what's going on that day and what type of support we can offer.
But give us some sense. I want to know what kind of call on your resources this is.
Well, I can actually give you a couple of good examples of things we've done recently.
I'm really not looking for examples. I'm looking for how much your workforce is being diverted to immigration enforcement and away from things that they were doing previously.
Well, specifically immigration enforcement only, that's not what we're focused on. It's just not, sir.
Okay, so how many of the 200 agents have worked in immigration enforcement?
At any given time, anybody could.
No, just overall. Have all 200 been called away at some point to work on immigration enforcement?
No, sir.
Okay, so how many have?
I really would have a hard time giving you an answer on that, sir.
You're running the office.
I am, yes.
And you're having to make decisions about allocating resources.
Yes, sir.
And you've got investigations to pursue that were ongoing at the time of the administration. And you're having to take agents off of one thing to put them on another. I know how strapped the resources were even before this administration. Yeah. So you may not want to be precise here, but we need some sense of what kind of resources are being diverted here. So what percentage of your agents, would you say, what's your best estimate, what percentage have been called to do immigration enforcement? What percentage of the 200 have at some point in the last 150 days been called away to work on an immigration enforcement action?
Sir, the reason I'm having a hard time answering the question is because we work immigration enforcement as it relates to narcotics enforcement. So the two are intimately combined. And that's what our agents are doing.
Okay.
Well, for instance,
you know what I'm asking you? With all due respect, you know what I'm asking you. So what percentage of your agents have been called away to work on immigration raids? That is a departure from what you were doing before 150 days ago.
Sir, my people do not do strictly immigration raids.
What percentage of your agents have worked on immigration enforcement in the last 150 days? Can you give me an estimate?
Again, it's not just immigration enforcement, sir. So I have
you clearly don't want to answer the question, Mr. Allen, and this is part of the problem, and that is we are devoting, by some estimates in the FBI, 45% of our agents in major cities, it's a public report, to immigration enforcement actions that are 90% of which going after nonviolent offenders. You're taking them away from somewhere. You're taking them away from somewhere. And you clearly don't want to tell us how much you're taking them away or how much work they're doing on this and what other enforcement actions, what other interdiction they might be pulled away from. But we need answers. Mr. Perez, are the estimates accurate that 45% of agents in major cities are being called on to work on immigration now? Is that accurate?
No, sir, I would say that's not entirely accurate. I think that maybe comes from some data that looked at
So what is the accurate percentage?
So nationally, sir, I don't have an exact percentage. I would say it's probably, it ebbs and flows. It could be between 5 to 10%. But again, that's been a temporary surge. We're realigning, we're surging now towards potential terrorism threats
and the 5 to 10% that are being called away to work on immigration, what were they working on previously?
It varies, sir, by office. It depends. But we have a history in the FBI, sir, of surging resources towards terrorism or cyber attacks or cartels. So those are decisions made by our field offices to potentially pull someone off of an assignment. But I would say that's common, sir. In the 100+ years in the FBI, we surge resources, we realign resources for potential threats.
As the gavel struck to signal the end of questioning, the room was left buzzing, but not for the reasons Adam Schiff had hoped. His entire line of questioning, designed to corner federal officials and score political points, had unraveled before everyone's eyes. Schiff had come armed with statistics he couldn't verify, accusations that fell flat, and demands for numbers that simply didn't exist in the rigid form he wanted. Time and time again, the officials calmly reminded him that law enforcement isn't a static machine. Resources shift, priorities change, agents surge toward whatever threats endanger Americans the most, whether that's terrorism, cyber attacks, cartels, or immigration tied to criminal activity. But Schiff ignored the nuance, insisting on painting immigration enforcement as some reckless diversion of resources. And with each pushback from the panel, the foundation under his argument crumbled. His so-called 45% diversion claim? Proven wrong. His accusations of neglecting fentanyl and cartel enforcement? Debunked. His attempt to frame the FBI as wasting time on immigration raids? Completely dismantled. By the time his questioning ended, Schiff wasn't the prosecutor anymore. He was the one on defense, visibly frustrated, his narrative falling apart in real time. What was supposed to be his big moment of outrage turned into a masterclass on how not to conduct a congressional takedown. In the end, Schiff left with no clear answers, no big gotcha moment, and certainly no political victory. Instead, federal officials left the hearing room with their credibility intact, while Schiff walked away with his reputation bruised and his arguments exposed as nothing more than political theater. The hearing closed, but the embarrassment lingered, a reminder that facts always outlast grandstanding, and today, Schiff learned that lesson the hard way.